Early voting is surging in the most closely watched race in America. Nearly 500,000 ballots have already been cast in New York City's mayoral election. It is a record-breaking number. On the campaign trail, Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist and frontrunner, doing Tai Chi at a senior center in Manhattan. His primary opponent, New York's former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo, campaigning in a Republican stronghold in South Brooklyn. And out front now is Andrew Cuomo, independent candidate for mayor of New York. Governor, nice to see you tonight. So you have been out there campaigning hard. The polling, every major polling, is showing Mamdani with a double-digit lead over you. Why do you think it is that New Yorkers are consistently choosing him over you?
Well, I think the race is just starting to take shape, right? Tuesday is the big day, and I think New Yorkers tend to focus late. Also, he is the Democratic candidate. He won the Democratic primary, so there's a knee-jerk to go with the Democrat. Interestingly, he's a Democratic Socialist. I'm actually a Democrat. So that also has to play out. And the turnout, as you mentioned, is extraordinary. And I think that's the most telling thing. New Yorkers are concerned. You have this Democratic Socialist. What does it mean to have New York being run by a person who favors socialist economic policies? Public safety is a very big issue. I want to add police. He has been very anti-NYPD. And then you have the highest rate of anti-Semitism incidents in New York City, in the country, which is really shocking. So there's a lot that is animating the people of New York, as it should.
Animating them, getting people out to vote. We don't yet know. Right? Sort of to your point, we don't yet know how they vote. We'll find out on Tuesday when the results are in. You were campaigning today in South Brooklyn with a Republican city councilwoman who just endorsed you. And I just want to play something that she said about your opponent, especially as you talk about the very real rise in anti-Semitism in this city specifically. So that moment in your response, here it is.
Aside from the fact that he's a communist, an anti-Semite, he has no idea what he's doing.
Do you believe, as the council member said, that Mamdani is an anti-Semite and a communist?
I don't think the council member said that.
So, Governor, now that you were able to hear clearly that she did in fact say that, do you agree with her that Zohran Mamdani is anti-Semitic and a communist?
Yeah, I didn't hear her referring to him as an anti-Semite. I thought she was referring to him as fostering anti-Semitic sentiment. He has said some highly inflammatory things on the campaign trail, and he has offended the Jewish community. There is no doubt about that. He refuses to denounce globalize the Intifada, which basically means kill Jewish people. He's refused to denounce a fellow named Hassan Piker, who was a friend of his, who said, America deserved 9/11. America deserved 9/11. In New York, every New Yorker was traumatized by 9/11. So these are highly inflammatory and divisive comments. And he's made them and he's stuck by them. He refuses to recognize the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state. So he has been very outspoken on these positions, and he has offended the Jewish community by and large in New York.
So then just to put a point in the question, though, do you believe that he is, as the Congresswoman said, her exact words, an anti-Semite? Do you agree with her?
Yeah, she was a councilwoman. And look, I don't have the power to look into somebody's soul. I don't know if somebody's a racist, somebody's a bigot, somebody's anti-Semitic. I know what he has said is highly inflammatory and offensive to the Jewish community. There is no doubt about that. When you say you won't denounce kill all the Jews, that's inflammatory.
You were campaigning in Harlem yesterday, and you painted a very bleak picture of what you believe New York City would be with Mamdani as mayor. Here's some of that.
This is about the future of the city of New York. I do not believe the city of New York has a future if Zohran Mamdani is elected mayor.
New York, as you well know, is a very resilient city. It certainly had a future after the horrific 9/11 terror attacks. It had a future after COVID. More than 47,000 people died during the pandemic. Why do you believe specifically that the city itself won't have a future if Mamdani is in fact mayor?
Two reasons. Number one, the Mamdani is hostile to public safety, hostile to the NYPD. He said the NYPD, his words, are racist, wicked, corrupt, anti-queer, a threat to public safety. He has supported defunding, disarming, and disbanding the police. The public safety is job one in New York City and many cities. If people feel unsafe, that's very bad for the city. Number two, he's anti-corporate, anti-business, anti-wealth. One of the problems we're having in New York City now is our taxes are very, very high and people are leaving. As you mentioned, post-COVID, remote work, move to a place that has a lower tax rate because you can after COVID with remote work. So if you are anti-public safety and you are anti-corporation and anti-business and hostile to the economy in New York City, yeah, you're going to see more people leave. You are seeing it now, right? He will accelerate the number of people and companies leaving.
Former Governor Andrew Cuomo, you say the race is just getting started, gaining momentum. We'll be watching the results on Tuesday. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Out front now, Harry Enton, to tell me, all of us, something I don't know. Oh, look at that laugh, Harry. Okay, so Harry, when we're looking at races, you've got New York, you've got New Jersey, you've got Virginia, so much attention being played to these three races. What is happening? How much of this really, those races, is actually a test of Donald Trump? How much is it actually about the races themselves and what's happening in those areas?
Yeah, I mean, look, if they're a test of Donald Trump, then Donald Trump can't be too happy with what we're seeing in the data right now. I mean, you talk about New Jersey. What do we see there? I know Republicans want to think that Jack Ciattarelli is closing the gap, but in all honesty, what we see there is that the Democratic candidate, Mikey Sherrill, has a clear advantage, about 6 points. That's the closest of the three races that we're talking about. Virginia, you see Abigail Spanberger way up there by double digits, up by 10 points. And then, of course, you were just interviewing Andrew Cuomo, but you see that Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, is ahead there by 16 points. At this point in time, and granted, Election Day, we'll see what happens, but at this point in time, to me, it seems like the Democrats are most likely going to sweep all three of those races. And that's in part because of Donald Trump, but it's also in part because, especially in a place like Virginia, they have a much better candidate than the Republican candidate.
How rare would it be, or how rare is it in this moment, perhaps, for Democrats to be leading with those margins?
Yeah, okay. So this, to me, is what's so interesting. You know that I like going through the spreadsheets. I like going through the history books.
Harry likes the data and the history.
I like the data. I like the history. I'm a little bit of a nerd. So, I was interested. How often do we actually see the Democratic side sweep all three of these races? New Jersey governor, Virginia governor, and New York City mayor. And it happened back in 2017. But beyond that, there are very few examples in history where we've seen the Democrats actually sweep all three of these races. 1989, of course, that was Dinkins in New York City. That was Jim Florio in New Jersey. And that was Douglas Wilder in Virginia. And then before that, you have to go back before either of us were born, to go back to 61, 57, 53. It has only happened 5 times in the last 90 years, what seems like is going to happen this Tuesday.
All right, we got 30 seconds left. Tell me something I don't know.
Okay, I will tell you something that you don't know, Erica Hale, beyond the fact that it is Halloween and I dressed as a dumpster fire this morning on national television.
I saw it. It was a good look.
It was a good look.
Yeah.
And that is the 5 times that I mentioned that the Democrats swept all three of those races. Each and every single time the following year, they won a majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. So if Democrats sweep on Tuesday, it, in my opinion, is a very good sign looking forward to 2026 and taking back that majority from the Republicans.
We will be watching for it. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, Erica
Nice
Hill.
to see you, my
nice
friend,
to
as
see you.
always.